Here are solutions to homework set number 10 for ECE 111, Introduction to ECE. This homework set looks at capacitors, something that you cover about halfway through Circuits 1, and how to solve capacitor circuits using Matlab. Now, starting out, capacitors are integrators. Resistor is just an amplifier. From before, we have V equals I times R. So R converts current to voltage and is the gain. So like 2 ohm resistor, voltage is double the current, 100 ohm resistor, voltage is 100 times the current, and so on. Capacitors are different. Capacitors are integrators. The voltage is 1/C times the integral of the current. What that means is if I have a circuit and here's the current going to a capacitor, the voltage will be 1/C times the integral of I. Now if C is 1 farad, which is really big, I'll just integrate it. So suppose I start at 0 volts. I'll add the area under the curve, which is 0. So start at 0, stay at 0. Start at 0, stay at 0. I then subtract. I come down by this area, that's minus 1.5. So the voltage will come down to minus 1.5 volts. I now subtract 3, come down another 3 volts. 1, 2, 3. I then integrate 0. The integral of 0 is a constant. I was at minus 4.5 volts. I stay at minus 4.5. I'll then add this area. Doing the whole thing, the area is 1/2 base times height. So this is 3 times 4, 12, over 2, 6. I go up 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This is where I wind up. So it's going to do a curve going up here. I integrate 0. Integral 0 is an integration constant. It will remember what the voltage is, the charge on it, and stay at 1.5 volts. I'll add another plus 1. Goes up 1, and then stays there. So there's the voltage. And that's roughly what voltage will look like as you integrate it. Now, if you have a circuit with a capacitor in it, it's described by a differential equation. So that's part of the reason that you take Calc 1, Calc 2, Calc 3 differential equations. You almost have a minor in math by the time you finish electrical computer engineering. The reason you take so much calculus is really the language of the world. Calculus describes how things work. Almost everything's a differential equation. Same thing with capacitors. Any time you have a circuit with a capacitor, it's described by differential equations. And you can find the order of the differential equation just by counting. A circuit with 1 capacitor is described by a first-order differential equation. A circuit with 10 capacitors is described by a 10th-order differential equation. So here's a circuit with 1 capacitor. Write the differential equation that describes it. Well, the trick is the current to a capacitor. Well, the voltage is 1/C times the integral of current. If I differentiate both sides, I get the derivative of voltage times C is I. That's the basic equation for a capacitor. I equals C dB dt. If I can find the current to the capacitor, I can tell you what the differential equation is. So I1, in this case, is the current from the left plus the current up. Current from the left is V0 minus V1 over 40. Current up is 0 minus V1 over 400. That's C dB dt. Doing some algebra, simplifying it, that is the differential equation that describes this circuit. So to find the voltage, I can't really just give you a number, it's more of a graph. If I know the voltage V0, V1, I know how much V1 is changing. So to solve this, what I can do is use calculus. You'll do that later. Or in this class, use Matlab. Use numerical integration. If V1 is initially 0 and V0 is 10, I can calculate how much V1 is changing. So here's the slope. Move forward in time 10 milliseconds. Recalculate the slope. Recalculate it. Repeat every 10 milliseconds. That's called numerical integration. I can find the voltage versus time numerically. So to do that, I'll have this code. I'll specify my integration step size, my initial conditions, some arrays for plotting. For 5 seconds, given V0, given V1, here's the derivative. That's dV1 dt, expressed as a variable that MATLAB's happy with. Once you know the derivative, integrate. So it's the old value plus the slope times the step size. That's numerical integration. This is Euler integration. Not the world's best integration, but it's simple, probably good enough for this problem. Move forward in time for 5 seconds, and what that looks like is this. I'll go into Matlab. Here's my first order differential equation. Just for fun, let's plot the voltage versus time. So when I run it, this is V0 is 10, that's V1, starts at 0, and charges up. Eventually reaches steady state. Plot V1 versus time. I get that. That is the voltage V1 versus time. Now to check your answer, I can use Circuit Lab. In Circuit Lab, I build the circuit, make this a step input. Now I go into time domain simulation and tell it I want to simulate it for 5 seconds, make the step size 5 milliseconds. That gives you 1,000 points on the plot. Plot it, and this is what Circuit Lab gives me. This is V0. That's my step input. Goes from 0 volts to 10 volts. This is V1. That's the same graph I got in Matlab. Kind of showing you. So that's really all Circuit Lab is doing. When I want to find out the voltage, I use numerical techniques, very similar to Matlab, use numerical integration, and iterate, find the voltage versus time. When you take circuits, I'll then go into lab, build it, and measure that with an oscilloscope, but that's a later course. Okay, so that is a first order differential equation, or a circuit with one capacitor. So here's the challenge. Impress your roommates. Let's solve a 10th order differential equation using Matlab. So here's the 10-stage RC circuit, similar to the heat equation. This is an electrical analog for heat. If I have a 10-volt step, I'm going to charge up the first capacitor, charge up V1, that charges V2, charges V3, charges V4, up to V10. Find the voltage versus time if V0 is a 10-volt step. Well, the first step is write the differential equations that describe it. This is actually not that bad. It's 10 coupled first-order differential equations. To see what those are, let's first find out what is the current I1. Well, I1 is the current from the left, V0 minus V1 over 40, plus the current up, 0 minus V1 over 400, plus the current from the right, V2 minus V1 over 40, that's C dV dt. Doing some algebra, rearranging it, this is the differential equation at node 1. By symmetry, since all the nodes are identical, this is also the differential equations at node 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Node 10 is a little bit odd. At node 10, there is no 440 ohm resistor attached. So this term goes away, and I just get those two at nodes 9 and 10. So that's the differential equation at node 10. Doing some algebra, that's the last node. So these get repeated 9 times. Last node's a little bit different. That is the differential equation that describes this circuit. Now to solve, you might solve this in calculus, maybe in circuits. 10th order is kind of hard. Not too bad in Matlab. To solve in Matlab, what I'll do is I'll specify the voltages. I'm going to specify this as a matrix of 10 elements, that's V1 through V10. If it starts out at 0, here's my integration step size, V0 is 10. At any given time point, this is the derivative at V1, derivative at V2, derivative at V3, and so on. Oddballs, node 10. Once you know the derivative, integrate. Now here I'm using a trick in Matlab. Since this is a matrix, I can do all 10 integrations all at once by using a matrix. Plot it and repeat. So here's what that looks like. In Matlab, these numbers changed from last semester. These are defined by the circuit. So for this circuit, that's the differential equation I'm trying to solve. Starting from 0 volts, beating at 10 volts, what happens? So as I run it, here's the voltage. V0 is 10. Here's V1, V2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. As time runs. After 10 seconds, I'll plot the voltage versus time. And that's what it looks like. You just solved a 10th order differential equation. So impress your roommates. To check my answer, I could throw that in Circuit Lab. This gets kind of tedious doing 10 nodes. It's perfectly fine if you just stop at, say, 2 or 3 nodes. Kind of get the idea. Here I simulated it for 5 nodes. Same thing we did before. Give a step input. This is V0. Here's V1, V2, 3, 4, 5. Basically the same answer that Matlab gave me. A little bit different because this has 10 nodes. Circuit just has 5. But basically it's the same. That's what Circuit does when you simulate a circuit. Now the last problem looks at eigenvalues, eigenvectors. Now the reason we're talking about this is when you take Math 129, you will talk about eigenvalues, eigenvectors, and it's really confusing. Nobody really understands them. This is kind of where it helps. On this problem you can see what eigenvalues and eigenvectors are. If I take my differential equation and write it in matrix form, this is your B dot is A times B. Here's my A matrix. This is a 10 by 10 A matrix. When you take Math 129, you'll learn that for a square matrix, I've got 10 eigenvalues, 10 eigenvectors. In Matlab, if I input that matrix, find the eigenvalues, eigenvectors, these are the eigenvalues, these are the eigenvectors. Now the eigenvalues tell you how it behaves. Something decays as e to the minus 11t, something decays as e to the minus 0.33t. The eigenvectors tell you what behaves that way. This eigenvector behaves as e to the minus 11t. This eigenvector decays as e to the minus 0.33t. So if I make this my initial condition, minus plus minus plus, it'll go away quickly. Make that my initial condition, it'll go away slowly. So let's try that. In Matlab, I'll input the A matrix, find the eigenvalues, eigenvectors. Suppose my initial condition is the fast eigenvector. If I let that run, poof, gone. That went away quickly. The shape was the eigenvector. The amplitude was the eigenvalue. Let's run that again. Poof. That's your plus minus, plus minus. The plus minus quickly cancel. Let's look at the slow eigenvector. If I make the initial condition the slow eigenvector, this shape decays slowly. Now notice the shape stays the same. That's the eigenvector. The amplitude is the eigenvalue. There's also other modes, which don't mean a whole lot to me, but mathematically says they're there. This is the 9th eigenvector. That one decayed as e to the minus 0.8t. The 7th will decay as e to the minus 1.76t. And so on. Those are eigenvectors. So if I ask you what initial condition decays quickly, that's an eigenvector problem. Here's the quick mode. If I ask you what initial condition decays slowly, that's also an eigenvector problem. There's the slow mode. If I want to know how fast they decay, that's an eigenvalue problem. The last problem on the homework is what happens if the initial condition is random? Well, let's try it. We give it a random initial condition. It starts out erratic, smooths out, and then decays slowly. I've seen this shape before. That's not random. What's happening is I've excited all 10 modes. The fast modes decay quickly, leaving the slow mode. The slow mode is the slow eigenvector. So once the fast modes go away, like right here, that's the slow eigenvector. So that in a nutshell is kind of eigenvalues, eigenvectors. I don't expect that to be real clear. Again, it's very few people understand eigenvalues, even fewer understand eigenvectors. In math, they have to introduce it without giving you concrete examples because they can't favor one major over another. On this class, we can favor majors. For an RC circuit, this is what an eigenvector eigenvalue means. The fast modes, the fast eigenvectors decay quickly, the slow eigenvectors decay slowly. A random initial condition excites all 10 eigenvectors. The fast modes go away quickly, leaving the slow mode. And that is homework set number 10 for ECE 111.